Today we will look at the bank performance evaluation. Okay, to do that, first we will look at the items in the income statement. First we look at the gross interest income. Okay, interest income of the bank derived from the loan given to the borrower, and when the bank give loan to the borrower, they charge borrower the interest in terms of the loan. Therefore, they will gain interest income from there. And also the interest on income may be coming from the investment made by the bank. For example, financial investment, they invest in some securities and they earn interest. So that are the sources of their interest income. This interest income will be minus off with the interest expense. Interest expense are the expenses in terms of interest incurred by the bank. For example, bank pay interest to the depositors when depositor deposit monies in the savings account, fixed deposit account, and so forth, right? And they also pay interest expense in terms of when they issue securities and they sell the securities to the investors. They need to reimburse the investors with the interest. Taking interest income minus interest expense, you have net interest income, and you have to plus the non-interest income that received by the bank. Non-interest income referring to the fee charge on the services provided. For example, bank provides safety box services, fee charge on banker acceptance, fee commission charge on checks or any forex transaction. Okay, and minus of the loan loss provision. Loan loss provision basically is a reserve account established by bank in anticipation of loan losses in the futures. So this item need to be minus off from in the income statement, and also minus off the non-interest expense. Non-interest expenses, for example, salary, office equipment, and other expenses not related to the payment of interest and deposit. And plus or minus any security gain or losses, what you're going to get is you're going to get the income before tax. And minus of tax, you have net income. And from this net income, minus of the cash dividend provided, what you get is going to get the retained earning. So these are the general bank income statement item. And for us to evaluate a bank, we may be evaluating them using some ratios. For example, profitability ratios, liquidity ratios, asset quality, capital adequacy ratio, and asset quality ratio. And to calculate this ratio, we will be using the income statement as well as some items in the statement of financial position. So these are the sub-ratio under profitability ratio. We're going to look at the return on asset, return on equity, and interest rate. So these are the relevant formula. Okay, and in terms of liquidity ratio, we will be looking at the loan to total asset ratio. Okay, so we wanted to know the percentage of loan out of the total asset for liquidity ratio. For capital adequacy ratio, we'll be studying on this capital adequacy ratio, where we take the capital base divided by total risk-weighted loan asset, and this ratio basically measure the financial strength of the bank. The higher the ratio, shows that bank has greater safetiness, right? And beside CAR, we will be looking at the capital ratio as well, where we take debt divided by capital. And last ratio is asset quality ratio. Asset quality ratio include NPL ratio. NPL referring to the non-performing loan ratio. Non-performing loan ratio is calculated by taking the outstanding loan divided by total loan. The higher the non-performing loan, the poorer will be the asset quality, and the poorer will be the performance of the bank because of lower net interest income, right? And also higher loan loss provision. And another asset quality ratio is loan to deposit ratio, where you take the total loan divided by total deposit. Okay, this shows that how many percent of the deposit has been given to the borrower. The higher the ratio indicates better profit. Okay, why better profit? Because you are giving up more loan, but at higher risk. What kind of risk? Default risk. Higher loan actually come with higher default risk of the borrower. So when we evaluate the bank, we look at these four perspectives. From here, you know that the bank has actually performing well from year to year, or performing well compared to another bank, benchmark bank in the market. That's for bank evaluation, performance evaluation.